And CNN can now project the winner in the Arizona governor's race is Democrat Katie Hobbs defeating Republican Kari Lake. I want to go right to our panel, David Axelrod, Scott Jennings, and Audie Cornish. Audie, what's your reaction to this?
Well, this is a great example of a race where abortion inadvertently came into play. In September, a federal judge sort of resurrected a ban from the 1860s that would have banned abortions across the board. And Hobbs really jumped on it and even talked about, in personal terms, her own miscarriage, et cetera. And the reason why I bring this up is because she took a lot of criticism for being lackluster, for not kind of punching back against Kari Lake, and for not speaking about the economy. But she did focus a lot on this election denial democracy and did talk about abortion in ways that may have connected with voters. And I think it sort of fits into some of the storyline we've been hearing the last few days.
David Axelrod, I mean, I want to play some things that Kari Lake has been saying throughout the campaign and get your reaction.
It is not impossible to protect our kids at school. They act like it is. Nancy Pelosi, well, she's got protection when she's in D.C. Apparently her house doesn't have a lot of protection. Thank God your ratings are in the toilet. That's exactly where they deserve to be. Start being journalists. Stop spreading the garbage. I'm going to be your worst freaking nightmare for 8 years. And these bastards back there don't want us talking about stolen elections. Well, it doesn't matter. We had November 3rd, 2020. That was called Incompetency 101. They gotta fix this problem. This is incompetency. That is absolutely absurd. And are you guys buying that? Are you really buying that? This just sounds like a Jussie Smollett part 2. I don't even know where her campaign office is. I'm assuming it's in a basement somewhere, because that's where she's been campaigning. I'm going to win the election, and I will accept that result, because the people of Arizona will never support and vote for a coward like Katie Hobbs.
I mean, David, of all the sort of Trumpian or Trump acolytes, she was sort of the apex predator of all of them. What do you, I mean, with her loss, what is the impact of that? What does it say about Trumpism?
Well, I think it says a lot. You know, Steve Bannon was camping out in Arizona and holding her up as an exemplar of Trumpism, and you know, she really is a more sort of polished performer, but uttering, you know, speaking from the same script. And she thought that would get her to where she wanted to go. It was enough to win a primary, but she's alienated the middle in that state, and they walked away from her. And I think it's much, you know, as I said earlier, she is the most flamboyant example of the election deniers, of the Trump acolytes. They've been beaten all over the country, and tonight this is the exclamation point on it. You know, I think there's a lot of interest in this race because she's been so flamboyant about it, but there's no gauzy lens that can change the numbers that the voters of Arizona have rendered in this race.
Scott, what effect do you think this governor's race, others like it, are going to have on GOP primaries going forward?
Well, I think the Republicans need to ask themselves, what is the purpose of a political party? Because late in the campaign, Kari Lake had an event, and she asked, is there anyone here that's a John McCain Republican? And a few people raised their hands, and as the story goes, she told them to get out of her event. And I've just never seen a group of people who think the purpose of a party is to make it smaller and then act surprised when they don't win the election. Arizona has a heavy dose of independent voters. They've often voted Republican in the past. They love their current governor, Doug Ducey, for instance. So when you're actively trying to make your party smaller, to make yourself feel better, but not thinking about the electoral implications of that, it's a real problem. But you had a number of candidates around the country who think it's a bad honor to try to shrink the Republican Party. The only way to win is to get more people in the tent. You need Bush, McCain, Romney, Trump, McConnell, whatever. You need all the kinds of flavors of republicanism together, because when you start to eject people, it makes it really hard to win in states that are purple, like Arizona and others, Pennsylvania, Georgia, you name it.
I want to go back to John King at the Magic Ball. John, how did Hobbs win? I mean, Kari Lake is saying, look, was she out campaigning? She certainly wasn't, you know, walking around with the constant, you know, incredible lighting and a microphone on her at all times, trying to create drama. How did she win?
I think your guests have made the point. I'll go through the numbers both in Arizona and then give you a national perspective. But in this election, many of these candidates that voters just viewed as a little too spicy, a little too out there, whether it's Trumpism, whether it's election denial, whether it's abortion restrictions, whether it's something else, a lot of voters just decided, we don't want that spicy. We will take normal. We will take maybe a little bit more dull. Katie Hobbs won by 20,481 votes. That's not a final number. We still need to figure it out. But she will be the next governor of Arizona. And it has significance. She will be a Democratic governor of Arizona, replacing yet another Republican governor. She won, again, 20,000 votes. You say that's not a lot. That's twice what Joe Biden won Arizona by 2 years ago. As Scott noted, this is a purple state, but it's a state in transition. She's going to win with 20,400 votes. Senator Mark Kelly just won. Let me flip that race. He just won re-election by 126,000 votes. Senator Sinema is on the ballot in 2 years. We will watch the struggle for Arizona continue, Anderson, as this plays out. But it is a state now that Democrats have just won the last presidential election. They won the governorship, took it away. That's a pickup this time, kept their Senate seat. So Democrats are happy in Arizona. Plus, they won Secretary of State, a huge race in the state of Arizona. So that's Arizona. Let's pull out nationally. I just want to show you something. A Republican governor who did not run for re-election, replaced by a Democrat where they nominated a Trump-backed candidate. Massachusetts, a Republican governor replaced by a Democrat in a place where they nominated a Trump-backed candidate. The state of Maryland, a Republican governor replaced by a Democrat in a state where they nominated a Trump-backed candidate. Plus, on top of all that, Democrats keep Michigan, they win Pennsylvania, they pick up Arizona. The Democrats had a good year when it comes to governor's races, especially in the battleground states, especially against Trump-backed nominees heading into 2024. They also, Anderson, did a lot well down ballot in many of these states, including Michigan. So when you look at a state level, Democrats are quite happy, including tonight in Arizona.
Yeah, fascinating. Incredible race. John King, thanks so much. Thanks to our panelists. Audie, thank you so much for being with us. And to come